The top 10 best welterweights in March-April 2020. 1. Errol Spence. After Spence's horrific car accident, he said he planned to return to the ring sometime around June. With the current state of affairs in the sport, this seems unlikely. He'll most likely take a tune-up before he gets back into the ring against an elite opponent, and assuming he looks like the same fighter as before, I'd pick him to beat anybody else in the division. 2. Terence Crawford. If Spence can corral Spence into the ring with him either this year or in 2021, I'd make him the favorite to win. But I can't put him number 1 in these rankings, because I agree with Prograde Prognosis when he says he hasn't proven that much at welterweight. It's not necessarily Crawford's fault that just about everybody else in the top 7 of this poll is affiliated with PBC. 3. Manny Pacquiao. It's amazing that at 41 years old, Pacquiao is still an elite boxer in the sport. After losing to Jeff Horn in 2017, a fight I thought Pacquiao won, it would have been easy to see him slip into irrelevancy. Instead, he knocked out a faded Lucas Matisse, easily outpointed Adrian Broner, and then surprisingly beat the undefeated Thurman. I don't think Pacquiao, at this age, would stand much of a chance against Spence or Crawford, but he could beat anybody else on this list. 4. Shawn Porter. He's not one of the most technically skilled boxers in this division, but he's certainly one of the toughest, and he has a great win versus Manny Garcia and close losses to Spence and Thurman. A bout against Pacquiao could be so much fun. 5. Manny Garcia. Though he's had a nice career, winning world titles in 2 divisions, when's the last time he beat a level fighter at welterweight? Unless you count Lamont Peterson at a catch weight in 2015, and I don't, the answer is never. Still, Garcia is an excellent boxer, and his only losses have come to Thurman and Porter. Garcia could compete with anybody in the division, but he still hasn't proven he can beat a top guy at 147 pounds. 6. Keith Thurman. It's hard to know where Thurman stands in this division. He lost a split decision to Pacquiao, and ever since he beat Garcia by split division in 2017 and spent the next 22 months battling injuries, Thurman simply hasn't looked like the same kind of championship-level boxer he was before. Thurman could compete with anybody on this list, but I also feel he could lose to anybody on this list. 7. Yordenis Suka. His record of 25-4 isn't glossy, but he's won 10 out of his last 11 fights. His lone loss came to Porter in a fight that many believe Ugas actually deserved. During that time, he's beaten a then undefeated Jamal James, a then undefeated Brian Perala, and a then undefeated Omar Figueroa Jr. Ugas probably deserves a big-time fight at some point soon. 8. Mikey Garcia. Before his fight versus Jesse Vargas last month, I asked Garcia if he'd consider moving back down to 140 pounds. He said he'd think about it, but after his victory versus Vargas, which was decent but not super impressive, he said he'd stay as a welterweight. The problem is that I don't think he'll beat anybody in the top 4 in this division. In my eyes, Garcia is still a pound-for-pound fighter, but he's much better at 140, or even 135 if he could still make the weight than he is at 147. 9. Sergey Lipinets. Mikey Garcia beat him at 140 pounds to take his world title, but since then, he's looked good, especially when Lipinets stopped Lamont Peterson a year ago. Lipinets has talked about wanting to face Garcia again in their new weight class, but honestly, I don't know why Garcia would bother with that rematch. Too much risk, too little reward. 10. Virgil Ortiz. One of the brightest prospects in the game, Ortiz has amassed a 15-0 record with 15 KOs, and he's knocked off solid fighters like Mauricio Herrera and Antonio Orozco. He could become a star in this division and in the sport in general. Here's hoping we see him and the rest of the sport's elite and not so elite as soon as it's safe to do so. If you like this video, you can subscribe to JMCA TV and click the notification bell for more videos.